What's up, people? In this video we are going to talk about why you're not in shape, okay? Why are you not in shape? I have good reasons for you. You can point to these reasons in the future when you want to make excuses, and you can say, oh, it's not my fault, it's this external circumstance. Might sound patronizing, but I'm actually not really joking, so yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so subscribe, links in the description. Go check out my other stuff, digital marketing channel, read my blog, follow me on Instagram. I don't know, I guess that's it. Okay, so what am I talking about here? Why am I essentially already excusing you from having to do anything before you've even started? Or maybe you've started, you're on your way, but probably you haven't started yet. Or maybe you have, I don't know. But here's what I'm talking about, okay? Now, I was thinking about this the other day because I am currently in Japan, and it's one of the most unique, interesting, coolest, funkiest, weirdest, most awesome countries that I've ever been in. And I've been in a lot of countries, okay? I've lived in Israel, I've lived in Australia, I've lived in New Zealand, I've lived in Germany, I've lived in Thailand. You know, I've been all over the place. And like here, this is like hands down one of the coolest places I've ever been. Just because people here are so, they just do things right over here. I don't know how else to say it. They're respectful, they're clean, they work hard, they take shit seriously, and it's very refreshing to live in a place like this, even if it's only temporary, okay? So what's the but, right? Like what part of this is going to be, where am I going with this, right? Here's the problem with Japan. Okay, here's the problem with Japan, all right? Number one, and I don't really want to say that it's a problem, but one thing that I've noticed since coming here is that the travelers who come here, and again, this is like super insulting, I'm sure, maybe some people who watch this will be offended, I'm sorry in advance, but the travelers who come here are not the most attractive people, okay? Now, I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a very superficial person, very shallow, very concerned with outward appearances, for better or worse. And I notice this kind of thing. Like, for example, I can tell you that the difference between the type of people who go to Phuket, where I lived essentially for about a year in different time periods, are more attractive than the ones who go to Chiang Mai. Okay, Chiang Mai, you get a lot of couples, you get a lot of people who care about seeing a temple, like going and visiting all the temples. And those types of people, in general, are going to look a little bit different than the ones who are more interested in going to the beach, right? That's all things considered. You know, and then we can look at, I don't know, how about Vietnam, for example? Vietnam is a much cheaper country. It's going to attract people who have less money. And of course, this is a sweeping generalization, but most people who have less money are also less attractive, right? Again, I'm sure I just insulted pretty much everybody. And okay, let's talk about Australia, right? In Australia, it's an expensive place. And to even go to Australia, to even want to go to Australia, like broke people don't go to Australia from Europe or from America. It's not a place that broke people want to go. It's literally like the furthest place that you could possibly go in the world from pretty much anywhere. And it doesn't attract broke people. So you get a lot of high quality, attractive young people that go there to do a working holiday visa normally. Now, what does this have to do with Japan? The people that come here are normally, again, not trying to offend anybody. I love the people who I've met here in Japan. If anybody from my share house is watching this, I'm not trying to insult you, I'm not trying to offend you, I'm just saying what I've noticed so far. But in general, the people that come here, people who are very into Japanese culture, probably 99 times out of 100 watch anime, and are not like super concerned. They're not like super shallow, superficial people like me from LA who are obsessed with looking good and obsessed with having a nice body and obsessed with starving themselves into, you know, being the top 1% of attractive people in the world. I'm not saying that I am, but that's the goal, you know? Other people that come here might not have that goal. Now, this video isn't even really about them. This video is actually about Japanese people. Now again, I don't think too many Japanese people are watching this who live in Japan. I highly doubt it. Maybe some of the people that I live with, a very rare Japanese homeless person. But I've noticed that Japanese people, girls mainly, a lot of them have bad teeth, like crooked teeth, yellow, you know. I feel really bad making this in case any Japanese girls that I know will actually watch it. But I don't know. Here, I'm gonna go turn around this way so I don't have to go into people. So I'm actually going somewhere that I need to go. But I just feel like they just don't pay as much close attention to their appearance as, for example, Russians, right? Or Russian women, at least, who are under 25. Russian girls, for those of you who don't know, always pretty much look very good, very attractive. They wear high heels everywhere, and they just pay very close attention to their appearance. Russian guys, you know, whatever, they're guys. But girls, for example, you notice that, okay? But here, they don't really do that. And the point that I'm trying to make by explaining all these differences between all these people, I believe, is because Japanese, men are not particularly aggressive sexually. Like there's no evolutionary pressure on these girls to look as good as possible, because there's not really any competition anyway, because, you know, Japanese guys are very shy, they're very like reserved. It's not like a pickup culture, it's not a slutty culture. They have like tons of porn everywhere. It's like very common to have porn here, and like crazy like degenerate porn. Not making a judgment, just, you know, using it kind of as a joke. But they're not, there's no beach in Tokyo, at least. And again, I'm only talking about Tokyo. Now, the one exception that I will say is, Japanese girls who have lived abroad and have a little bit more of like a Western influence. Because obviously in the West, it's a very sexually free place, and it's much more likely that, a Japanese girl who has lived abroad is going to, be more open to guys approaching her. She's gonna be more used to it. Maybe she's had like some casual sex here and there, and it's just more common, okay? Now, what does this have to do with fasting and being in shape and like being fit? Well, the same thing kind of applies to fitness. If you don't have any evolutionary pressure on yourself to be fit, then why would you be fit? Why would you go through all of the, I don't want to call it work, but let's just call it work, to get fit and to starve yourself by fasting and to spend several hours a week in the gym and to do, to pick the foods that you eat and to resist the temptation of buying cookies in the grocery store and resist the temptation of going out drinking with your friends? Why would you do that if you don't have any evolutionary pressure on yourself? Why would you do that if there's no negative consequences for you doing that? Okay, this is also very common, like when people get into a relationship or get married, they kind of let themselves go, because men and women, right? But let's talk about women, for example. Why would women need to stay as fit and sexy as possible when they've already got a man, And the same thing with men. You're married, you've got a wife. Why do you need to put all of this extra time into being as fit as possible? And, don't look at me, for example. I'm a complete mess, but, why would you need to do that if there's no chance of anything happening anyway? Okay, so what's the solution to this? Okay, assuming it's true and assuming I'm right and you're giving me the benefit of the doubt that my weird theory here actually has some merit. Well, you need to change your entire life, restructure it completely so that you do have that evolutionary pressure on yourself to be as fit as possible. Like, I can give you an example in my own life. If I am living in a place that it is hard for me to be fit, I will leave that place and I will go move somewhere else. Now, this is maybe a little extreme for most of you, because most of you are probably not willing to change cities and change the groups of friends that you hang out with and, change your life completely just to get in better shape and just to be healthier. Is that necessarily a good thing? I don't think so. But, it is what it is. So step one, move. Leave your city, break up with your girlfriend, break up with your boyfriend, ditch your kids. No, don't ditch your kids, that'd be bad. Give away your dog, whatever you have to do, and move someplace where everybody's very attractive, okay? I personally recommend Tel Aviv if you're Jewish. or even if you're not Jewish, but it's generally better if you are. Tel Aviv is great, lots of attractive people there, and it's just very easy to be fit and healthy there. You walk everywhere, everybody goes to the gym, just a very like fit culture. LA is also good if you move to West Hollywood. And I know this probably sounds like a joke, right? Like what he's telling me that I need to like move to be healthy and fit. It has nothing to do with eating or working out. I mean, it doesn't, you're right. Directly it doesn't, but it kind of does, you know? If I, like there's this person in the startup world, in the tech world called Paul Graham, and he wrote an article, very smart guy, and he had a blog. I don't think he updates it anymore, but he wrote an article talking about, he's also a painter. I'm just like walking around in circles. He wrote an article about why all of the best painters from, I don't know, the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s came from Florence, Italy. Because the article was about why all the best startups come from Silicon Valley, which as far as I know is still kind of the case. And he said that in a certain city, you know, painting is just painting. Anybody can paint anywhere. You can paint in Idaho, you can paint in Antarctica, you know, but why did all the best painters come from Florence? And he said that the culture that forms around a certain activity from lots of people moving to that area and participating in that activity is going to raise the quality of everybody doing what they're doing there anyway. Now, ever since I heard of this concept, I kind of look at every place that I go now through that lens. For example, if now I'm in Japan, right? What do people, how does the environment shape people here? Foreigners specifically. Well, I could tell you one thing, and this is not to directly insult anybody. I would hate to do that, but probably like not be super physically attractive because the gym culture here kind of sucks. Maybe my teeth will get worse, I don't know. But on the flip side, what I might lose in physical attractiveness, I'll gain in, I would say, maybe intelligence and discipline, right? That's one thing that I admire a lot about Japanese people. Not really discipline, but I would say attention to detail. Okay, they pay a lot of attention to detail here with literally everything. Like you go into 7-Eleven and like you're greeted every single time, right? They say, hello, how are you? They look you in the eye and they greet you. Like in America, that doesn't happen, you know, as far as I know. It doesn't happen anywhere. They just try hard here for everything. Okay, so I want those traits, which is one of the reasons why I talk about staying here, because I need that, you know. I'm a very, not lackadaisical, but I'm just very cavalier. I'm very casual. Like I walk into my room and I throw my shit on the floor, you know. I'm not organized, but I know that I need to be. I know that's one of my weaknesses, or I see it as a weakness at least. And I would like to develop that in myself, which is why I moved here, or why I'm trying to, or why I don't know. I might go back to Vietnam, we'll see. Because on the other hand, Vietnam, I was super fit in Vietnam. Oh my goodness, right? So anyway, done talking about myself. How does this apply to you? You need to understand that if you don't have that evolutionary pressure on yourself to not just be fit, right? It could be anything. You know, we could talk about any part of your life that you want to improve, right? This is the same concept as you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with or something like that, which is very cliche. It's like a total circle jerk comment that you see people post on some quote on Instagram so that other people will think that they're smart or that they're like a real go-getter. But it's really true, you know, and it's not just the people that you hang out with, it's the place that you live, it's the hobbies that you have, and it's the environment that you're in overall. And if you're in an environment, sad to say it, in Middle America, again, no offense to Middle America, like no offense to whatever, not trying to be a dick or anything, but if you're in an environment where like you go to Walmart, if you're in an environment where you even have a Walmart, but you go to Walmart and you see people riding rascal scooters who weigh 400 pounds, and you walk down the street and you smell people smoking cigarettes on the street, obviously like it's gonna bring you down, okay? Even though technically you can choose to not smoke cigarettes, just like I can choose to go to the gym here. But again, one last example before I shut it down. I can choose to go to the gym here, But because the gyms are so bad and because the gyms are so expensive, on average, my fitness is suffering because I'm been working out in a park for 2 weeks doing pull-ups, push-ups, and squats, as opposed to having a full gym at my disposal with lots of hot Vietnamese girls walking around and pumping music in my ear. I'm working out in a park with a bunch of kids and like some old dude who sleeps on the bench, you know? So that is maybe an obvious example, but you have to understand that your situation that you live in also has obvious examples, right? If I were to move there and give a commentary on where you live, it would also have its own unique characteristics, okay? But because you live there and you see it all the time and it's native to you, you don't really understand that it's unique. You just think that that's just the way it is and that's how things are. But realistically, like, I don't know, you need to leave and you need to move somewhere where it's easier, okay? That's my opinion, but then again, I like to have an easy life where I don't have to think too much and I can just walk down the street, casually talk to my phone with lots of people around me who don't understand what I'm saying. Okay, so if that made any sense to you and you enjoyed watching my video, hopefully there wasn't too much wind noise, definitely subscribe to my channel. Check out all the other stuff that I put in the description, and that's it. Peace.